So let's go to the phone lines and welcome in our friend, former Arkansas Razorback, former Super Bowl champion, Bret Goode. Bret, I don't know if you heard the news, man, but Brandon Allen, he's going to get the start for the Bengals against the Giants on Sunday, according to the NFL Network.
I did hear that, and that's so great for him. And, you know, to get lifted off the practice squad and then kind of get in that position as quick as he did, it shows wonders for, you know, how he's controlled himself as a professional and how he's taken in and how the players have enjoyed being around him because, you know, that they don't just do that just because. So, but I also agree that he's going to have to make sure he's got his running shoes because it's going to be an interesting game. Their offensive line is very down. You know, Joe has been moving a lot throughout the pocket, and that's kind of what ultimately got him hurt and out for the season. So Brandon's going to have to kind of fill that role. And I think at this point in his career, you know, he's kind of could come into being like a Ryan Fitzpatrick type of player where he can fill in and be a great backup for all these teams and then periodically get a starting role, and so that's good for him.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do against the Giants. Hopefully, we don't know if it's going to happen, but hopefully the line can give him a little help. They're missing Joe Mixon. He's on injured reserve. Now, I know he's got T. Higgins, he's got A.J. Green, he's got Tyler Boyd and some other guys. Hopefully he can get some help from his skill position players. Bret, let's go back to the game on Saturday against the LSU Tigers. Rivalry game. You wanted to keep the boot home. You weren't able to. And I know Chuck said after the game and during the game broadcast that this is the most painful loss to date. And I was kind of juxtaposing that between this and the Auburn loss. And I would have to agree with him when it comes to just the pain of being so close to beating LSU. At a point, I was like, Arkansas is going to win this game. Was there a point to you that you felt like LSU was going to win that football game on Saturday, Bret?
Multiple times in the second half, unfortunately. You know, when you're not catching the punt and the ball's rolling back to the 10-yard line, the offense can't stay on the field to even get a first down. You know, you knew we were already thin on defense anyway, plus the guys that were not even on the field due to the illness and injuries, and so we can't get those first downs. We can't, you know, just move the ball a little bit and the hidden yardage on the field. I was like, there's no way. We're not playing well enough on offense to continue this. We're not creating a ton of turnovers. So, yeah, I didn't think we were in the ball game in the second half, even though there was a lot of things that got you excited and got you picked up. But for the most part, to me, looking at the team, it's not like they weren't trying. They were giving effort. They just weren't doing the right things in the right time to try and help our team kind of get over that hump.
Bret, you lead me to my next question because Sam Pittman was asked about that, and he said during the press conference this week, we got to put someone out there that fields punts, whether it's Nathan Perotti, whether it's Traylon Burks, or someone that's just going to punt. They lost, I think, 39 yards by simply letting the ball drop. Now, you tell me this. I was taught from an early age, you stand at the 10-yard line. If it goes over your head, you let the ball go. But they didn't even do that. What were your thoughts on just losing yardage on punts this past Saturday?
So the old school thinking was the 10-yard line, and all these punters have now gotten good at doing these drop kicks, and they're able to kind of put it in. So now it kind of moves back into kind of the 7-yard line. But a lot of these punts that we were letting go were in front of the 10, and then they're getting a great LSU roll, as they like to say, just continue down the field, and that's all that hidden yardage, you know. And it seemed like more than 39 to me, honestly. Watching the game, it's like, golly, you know, the starting field position for LSU is so much better than Arkansas. And then if we're not getting a first down, you know, that just turns around and puts LSU right in great field position that they can almost score because of it. You know, they've got a good kicker, they've got a good offense, they've got, you know, they're right there at the 50-yard line. So, you know, you only got to get one first down to where you're in scoring position. So you've got to catch the ball. You don't have to return every single one of them, but you've got to catch it. We had that issue a couple times in NFL. You know, a lot of teams that go through that process, they're like, just catch it. Because if that ball starts bouncing forward, and, you know, it kills you being able to come out of the end zone. I know even in the Green Bay game on Sunday, the Colts hit a punt, and it ended up going backwards, and Green Bay ended up having to start out of their own end zone. Now, they were able to score on it because they've got a good quarterback, but a lot of teams can't score in that position that consistent.
I do want to have some NFL questions for you. Well, Bret, we'll get into this coming up. We're speaking with Bret Goode, former Arkansas Razorback, former Super Bowl champion here on the Morning Rush, part of now Henderson Phillips Employer Solutions. Bret, we were discussing Mike Woods a little bit, and you look at what Mike's done, especially in these last two games, where his deep threat and his catching ability, his catching rate has been off the charts. If you had to look at skill position players on offense, would you say Mike is the most improved player?
I think so. I think that he's shown it, consistently every week and gotten better every week. And I think that you could do that because he has become a deep threat and he's able to catch the ball. And what you've got to understand with all these people is you've got one option on one side, and if you start getting these other guys that kind of create options, then our offense can not have to home run every time. We don't, we need more than just 7 plays out there, but we've got to go about getting those first downs and those things down the field that we can continue to try to improve because we've got to get the first downs. First downs are huge. Time of possession is huge of consistent winning in the SEC.
Yeah, and they need to, because that's what we were discussing a little earlier, is the plays against the Arkansas defense. Kentucky's in second in the conference, and Arkansas has far more plays run against that defense, so they definitely need to be more consistent there. And that kind of bridges into another point, because there's been a lot of people that are angry with Kendall Briles, especially following the LSU game. And I'm looking around, it's like, guys, I mean, he hasn't been perfect, but you've definitely seen some flashes from this football team. So to your point about getting first downs, would you say the consistency and having these short 3-and-outs is probably your biggest problem with the Arkansas offense this season?
It is, and it's not even the play calling, honestly. You look at some of those 3-and-outs, we had a screen call that was set up perfectly, and it's just barely overthrown or underthrown or the ball's not caught. I think the play calling has been pretty good. We're just not executing everything that we need to do in that moment. And so then it seems like, we're only out there for 30 seconds, 40 seconds. We run 3 plays and defense got to go again. And so they've got to come together and put it where if he's calling a play and Franks has got to hit the guys and they've got to catch it. And, we've got to just remember that it's about moving the chain sometime. It's not always the home run. Home run's pretty and everybody loves it in the stands, but the more that you can move that chain and the more that you help your defense out.
Brett, are you much of an Arkansas basketball guy? I don't know if we've ever asked you a basketball question before. Are you gonna watch the game tonight?
I'm going to watch the game. It's hard for me to fully transition to every single player and all in until football season's over because, we still got 6 games left in the NFL, a couple games left in the SEC, so it's hard for me to focus all my time to it, but I do enjoy watching the Hogs.
So let's talk NFL here with Bret Goode here on The Morning Rush. Brett, the Tom Brady stuff, I feel like every single week you believe in him, you don't believe in him. Now, he has not been good with the deep ball this season. They add Antonio Brown, another weapon. You think about Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Brown, Scotty Miller. They have some, Gronk, obviously. They have some weapons that he can throw the ball to, but you saw on full display, made some mistakes against the Los Angeles Rams on Monday Night Football. Where's your trust level right now with Tom Brady and what you think he can do as far as getting another Super Bowl ring with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I think the trust is okay because you hear Coach Arians talk about that he's not missing those deep balls in practice. And so what that goes to is, the statistics on Tom this year is as he's gotten older, he doesn't handle the pressure up the middle. And their offensive line is not as good as what he's been used to in years past in New England, and so they've got to protect him better. And he does have a ton of weapons that if you give him some time, he's okay. And it's not like they're having a losing season. They're still competing. They've struggled against the Saints consistently. They lost both of those, but Drew Brees is sitting out with I think 11 fractured ribs. So that whole changes everything. Plus you've got an extra team in the playoffs this year. So I think as long as they kind of continue to stay consistent, they've got a great defense over there, and they've got a good special teams unit. So I'm not throwing Tampa Bay out just yet. I think if Tom continues to do that, then, it's going to be easy to say. But if he doesn't throw an interception, they seem to win. So I think that's kind of the way with most quarterbacks. And so he doesn't try to do that, but he's definitely – some of those games, it looks like he's aged himself a lot.
You mentioned Drew Brees and the injury he's dealing with. Taysom Hill came in. They were able to get their win on Sunday, but I wonder how long that's going to last, how long Drew Brees is going to be out. Where's your confidence level in the New Orleans Saints as the not only division leaders, but the NFC conference leaders right now?
Well, Sean Payton is, which is kind of interesting, talked about Taysom Hill, comparing him to Steve Young. I think the more that they get comfortable with him being a starter, I think the more creative Sean will be, and he's an excellent play caller. And again, you got to go to the Saints defense. Their defense is one of the top in the league. With their pass rush, I think they're top 3. And so that's a tough division. Then you go all the way to the NFC North with, I think everybody in the NFC North would make the playoffs on the NFC East side because the NFC East is just down. So, it all goes back and forth, and it really just comes down to which team gets hot at the end of the season. It's got a playoff chance, or they're already in the playoffs. I know there's another big game tonight, and so it's crazy that the NFL is that it's moving that way. That good defense doesn't necessarily win ball games anymore. It's good offense, and I think Sean is able to do that. And you see a lot of those quarterbacks that are really good can do that throughout the league.
Brett, I want to ask you one more NFL question, and then last Arkansas football question, then we'll let you go. The Dallas Cowboys get a big win against the Minnesota Vikings this past weekend. Big game against the Washington football team this Thursday, Thanksgiving. We know the Cowboys always play on Thanksgiving Day. What are you thinking about their chances to win and still somehow survive the decrepit NFC East?
Well, they come off a good win, a win that a lot of people didn't think they could go out and beat the Vikings, and I don't think very many people picked them to win because the Vikings had been hot. They beat Green Bay. They were running the ball with Dalvin Cook, 150, 200-yard games with 2 or 3 touchdowns. So their defense improved, and if you can show those improvements, then you're okay. They got Andy Dalton back off of injury, so that helped their offense a little bit. You saw CD Lamb, making plays that when Prescott got hurt, all those guys didn't have the relationship with Andy Dalton because we didn't have a full offseason. We had a short training camp because of COVID. So they had the relationship with Prescott, not with Dalton. So now they're all kind of starting to get in a little groove that they can maybe stack a little bit of that success and continue to move forward because they've got some weapons on offense that they're able to score. They just got to score more than 10 points.
Brett, before we let you go, last Arkansas football question. We've had a couple texts asking about the alignment of what happened during the field goal when A.J. Reeds was blocked at the end of the LSU game. Sam Pittman said they hinged on the edge by mistake. Now, that's hieroglyphics to me. Can you explain what happened when LSU loaded the left side of the line of scrimmage on A.J.'s kicking late in the fourth quarter on Saturday?
Well, usually when they're talking about hinging like that, you're shortening up the line that player's got to run to get to the block. And so you've created a closer block point. And so what those guys they all just put their leg behind each other person's leg and they create a wall. And you've got to hold it for, it's 1.3 seconds. It's not a long time, but you've got to stick that plant foot in there and you've got to brace yourself. And it didn't look to me like they blocked very well, but LSU got a really good jump. It looked like they came right when the snap, happened, and so it was just kind of a bang thing that they got a jump. We didn't protect well enough, and unfortunately, it resulted in a block. But again, that if you get the ball a little bit closer from time to time, sometimes those kicks aren't as low. So it kind of goes all in play with everything we've talked about is the hidden yardage and guys just doing their job in that last-minute field goal. It can go back and forth so quickly.
Now, we've talked a lot of football this morning, Brett, but you're now with Henderson Phillips Employer Solutions. You can talk football, you can talk insurance, you can talk it all, man.
That's right. I try to. It's been a crazy ride with the pandemic, but if I can get a Zoom meeting or an in-person meeting, that's been fun. But really just focusing on employee benefits, life insurance, health needs, and I can handle all property and casualty needs as well.
You can call him at 479-651-2292. Again, you can call Brett directly at 479-651-2292. He mentioned employee benefits, health insurance, staffing management solution, commercial, personal insurance. Brett, you can do it all, man. You can talk football, you can talk insurance, you can talk anything under the sun.
I can, and that's what I love doing is love talking. So just give me a call and we can talk football or insurance, either way.
What are you eating tomorrow, Brett, before we let you go?
Well, I smoked a turkey last Saturday.
Let's go.
10 hours, and I did that. So that was delicious, and I'm really good at a crock pot dressing. So tomorrow I'm probably just going to do the same thing. I'm going to a different house. We're keeping it small, trying to stay with the times of this year. But it's going to be good. I like macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes. I like to get all the sides and just get a little bit of turkey.
All right, that's the way to do it. Bret Goode, former Razorback, former Super Bowl champion. Again, you can contact him at Henderson Phillips Employer Solutions. Bret, you and your family and your friends have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll talk next week, buddy.
All right, thanks, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.